Hey, Giant fans. Welcome to the Giant Insider podcast. My name is Jerry Foley. I am the senior editor of the Giant Insider newspaper. And with me, as always, is the beat writer, the heart of Giants Nation, the co-host of the ManjaCast with the voice of the Giants, Bob Papa. Nobody beats the biz, Chris Bisignano. So, Chris, now that another New York team has been eliminated from a sport, it reminds me that the last time a New York team won a championship were the 2011 New York Football Giants, which is absolutely amazing when you think about it. Think about all the teams in this town or in the area, even throw the Devils in too, right? New Jersey, right? Throw all these teams in, and the Giants, who have been pretty bad for about 10 plus years, are the last team to win a championship. So now with, the NBA done, and that was pretty painful, that series. I'm not a Knicks fan, but I did watch and got into it a little bit. But now that that's over, there's baseball, and there's spring training camp coming up. So I'm psyched. Look, it's a kind of a dead time of year for the Giants. So we thought we would discuss today on this podcast, make or break players, right? Especially by position. And it's kind of now or never, right? And that's where we're going to go with this. But I don't know about you, Chris, but with basketball behind us, with hockey long behind us, I know you're in the throes of baseball and you're in the throes of having Alex Cora raise your blood pressure. I'm ready for football season to start, buddy. I don't know about you.
Yeah, baseball's such a long season, right? It's only the start of the third month of that. So, but yeah, we usually like to do this episode around this time, and it's called either step up or you might be stepping out, right? And
there you go.
Now that we're like 7 weeks away from training camp,
yeah,
we're gonna look at some guys on this roster that, hey, you better step it up, or you might be stepping out real soon.
Very good. I got to change the title now. Good job. Nice job. Step up or step out. All right, good.
So, we could get into, we'll do a positioning, what guys I have, and all that, have some fun with it.
Yeah.
Because these guys are going to have the microscope on them a little bit when it comes training camp, and even in OTAs and a mandatory camp in a couple of weeks, Jerry, they're going to have some microscope on them a little bit. And they're going to have to start impressing coaching staffs because there's a lot of new blood in the building, free agents, all that stuff. And they better get it going, as we like to say, or they might be on the way out real soon. And there might be some names in here that are high draft picks. I have a feeling we're going to have a few that are pretty high draft picks that will fit into that category. So
it's going to be a lot of crossover on these lists, I think, Chris, as my father would say. Crap or get off the pot, basically. It's that time of that part of your career now. Like, you either get it going, like you said, step up or step out. So
right. So let's start off. Let's go on the offensive side of the ball. Let's start off there. Let's start with the wide receiver position. What do you got there, Foley?
I have two. I have one obvious one. I have one that's less obvious. I'll give you my first one. Jalen Hyatt, obviously. I mean, it's now or never, right? And you have a quarterback who can chuck it deep. You have another quarterback who can chuck it deep. And you got a promising rookie who can chuck it deep. So if it doesn't work now for Jalen Hyatt, it's never going to work for him. Right. And everyone is agreeing. Nine Dog Golf says Hyatt as well. Chris, I'm sure you guessing you had some same guy.
Yes. Year 3 for Hyatt. He has not been the receiver that they hoped for when they drafted him in the third round in 2023. And yes, he has to show something this year. He's got to get, step it up, or he might be stepping out. And right now he's like the fourth receiver on his team. And I think it's time for Jalen to get it going. Like you just said, he's got a quarterback now that can wing it down the field. And that's his specialty, like Russell Wilson. Matter of fact, he did it in the OTA today, doing one of those moon balls that Jalen Hyatt came down with. And now one positive, I know it's only OTA, shorts and all that, but Jalen seems to be having a pretty solid off season so far. Of course, that doesn't mean anything. I know that. But it's better than me saying, well, he had 2 drops and it doesn't look good too, right?
Yeah.
So I think Jalen realized that. Look, Jalen hasn't been very happy with a lot of things too. I think he hasn't been happy with his playing time, and he made some statements at the end of the last year and Baggy Day that it seemed like he might have not been very happy with his production, his time on the field, and all that. So let's see what he could do this year. But yeah, I think Jalen Hyatt is number one. I think I have a feeling who your number two is going to be. Can I say it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Wandale Robinson.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, for a number of reasons. The drops last year, that was a new part of his game. He dropped a lot of passes. Again, running short of the sticks. I don't know if that was the play design, but he has to become that slot receiver that he kind of showed us in year 2 when he came off of the ACL injury. He was exciting year 2, right? And he started to put it together year 1 right before he got hurt. And then last year was just a down year. So look, if he doesn't turn it on and become the player that we thought, they're going to look elsewhere for another slot receiver. You're going to have another hole on this offense going into the offseason saying we need a slot receiver now. And because there isn't one on the roster aside from him. So this is what you got. So I definitely think it's make or break for him. And I was going to say something else about Hyatt real quick. I'm hoping that this is his Amani Toomer year. What I mean by that is Toomer turned it on year 3. He kind of came together for him. And I'm hoping that happens with Hyatt. I know people don't like those comparisons, but I'm just thinking very sought after draft pick. Toomer was I think a second round draft pick. But anyway, I'm hoping that happens for Hyatt. But yeah, dude, Wandale Robinson for me, disappointing last year. I was psyched about what he could bring to the table with Malik Neighbors on board, and he was pretty disappointing. And the voice of the Giants chimes in. What's up, fellas? Hey, Bob Papa.
Oh, the voice of the Giants, Bob Papa, has joined us. What's up, Pop?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of disappointment in Wandale. There's some good things. I'm not going to destroy him, but a lot of key drops. A lot of key drops. A lot of 4 or 5 yard reception. How about the receptions short of the sticks, Jerry?
Right.
Let's not forget that too, right?
Yep.
So yeah, we'd like to see, but I think the biggest thing about Wandale was just the key drops, man, and big drops.
Think of the Dallas game.
Phrase that. Yeah, big, drops in big situations, man.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
In a couple of games. So yeah, we'd like to see get that going. Does he get a second contract? Well, this is year 4 now for Wandale, right?
You're going to know this year,
and this is Joe's draft pick, Shane.
I think it's year 4?
This is year 4, 2022
oh my God,
draft.
it is year 4.
Yeah, he's a 2022 draft pick.
Holy crap.
Anyway. Yeah, he's entering year 4,
Oh my God.
So you kind of seen the same thing, and I know it's Shane's draft pick and all that. But you look at that and say, okay, does he get a second contract? Yeah. I think the Giants are going to be looking to upgrade that position next year. I think they were going to look to upgrade it this offseason. I got to be honest with you,
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Well, I'm not saying now, let's not mistake for what I'm saying. Wandale's not a tomato, but he hasn't been what we thought. And to me, he's coming off a disappointing season because you just can't have those drops, Jerry, in big spots. And
right.
He had them. You can't have those, 3rd and 6, 5 yard routes. And now it's 4th and 1 instead of first down, moving the sticks. So he has to get it going a lot more.
Triple Putt Pat says the knock against Hyde has been his inability to get up to line of scrimmage, right? If that's the case, why not put him in motion more to give him a free release? Yeah, good point. Sure.
Yeah. You know what, guys? I don't know if it's so much Jalen with that not getting off the line of scrimmage. I think a lot of it has to do with Jalen really not understanding what he's supposed to be doing on the field. And when coaches look at game film on Mondays and they see a route that's supposed to be run a certain way, or it could even be an improv, it could be whatever, quarterback's rolling right and Jalen's not rolling, or whatever it might be. That frustrates coaches. Route concepts, and he's not running the right route concepts. That's going to frustrate coaches, and they're going to be down, and they're going to put you in the doghouse. I'll tell you that right now. And I say this a million times too. We're not there during practice Wednesday to Friday, right? When they game plan. And if he's not getting it during practice and all that, he's going to slowly find himself in the doghouse. And that's what he did last year. And I know he was pissed off about it probably, like I said, I was pretty confidently, I can say he was pretty pissed off about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's time to look in the mirror. And Jalen's a great kid. Don't get me wrong. He's not a problem. But it's time to look in the mirror and say, I got to improve myself. And I'm glad he's having a strong OTAs. It's better than having an invisible OTAs.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The strength of his game is obviously those 9 routes down the field. The deep ball, the deep overs. And Russell, he has got a quarterback here, Russell Wilson, that could get him that ball down the field. We'll see how that works out. Thank you, Robert Evans.
Yeah, very nice. And also, you know what? I'm going to embarrass Rob Cosis a little bit. What's up, fellas? Thanks for all the updates on OTAs. Sorry. Rob Cosis gave a very nice donation to Defeat Cancer. I'm going to call him out on that. He's a good guy, man. Good job by you, Rob. All right.
There you go, Rob.
Yeah.
The way you said call him out, I thought he did something.
No, but I probably didn't, doesn't want the recognition for that, but good people deserve praise like that. So you're a good guy, Rob, even though you really like the Tampa Bay Lightning a lot, but that's all right, buddy. We'll look past that.
Well, Rob has seen a lot of winning, though. A lot of winning in the last 4 or 5 years. That he has.
Rob has. So. Yes, he has. It's a little sickening, actually, all the winning he's seen. Let's see. You know what?
Malik's toe is supposedly not an issue at all. They're just going to be very careful with it.
All right.
Dable addressed it last week with us at the OTA, and they're just going to be careful with it. They're not concerned about it.
Cute dog, Noreen. Looks like a Weimaraner, I'm guessing. Good stuff. All right. Next person. What position group you want to go to next, Chris?
Let's go to offensive line.
Ooh. Let's go. I got a couple of them. First, the easy one. Number one on the entire list has to be Evan Neal. And if it doesn't work at guard, it's not going to work in the NFL. Now, that being said, I agree with you, Chris. I think it's going to work. I think it's going to be the starting guard when the season starts. That's just a feeling I have.
Right.
But if it doesn't work there, it's over probably for his career. I mean, maybe someone picks him up on a flyer, but his Giant career will be over if it does not work this year. Even if it works this year, depends on what they want to do. But it's for him, you got to step up or easily. This is one of the bigger busts in team history.
Yeah, I agree, Jerry. And before we dive into the offensive line totally, I just want to bring up something that, Bob Pop and Carl Banks, they were illustrating some of the things I just talked about with Jalen Hyatt on their podcast, Believe in Giants, about some of the things that Jalen wasn't doing right. They were pointing it out. The difference between him and Slayton. Slayton was doing it right, Hyatt wasn't. So they broke it down really well. I remember a couple of weeks ago on their podcast, and that's the feeling around the building. They did a great job breaking it down, and you talk to people, and it's basically said that too about this kid's just got to start getting it. Because Jerry, if you don't get it, you're going to be in the coach's. You're going to be in the coach's doghouse. That's
right. Yep.
So I just wanted to bring that up because I just was reminded of that. So Jerry, offensive line. Look, obviously Evan Neal, right? That's the obvious one. What happens with him? Does he?
Yep.
I'm sorry. Darius Slayton was also running wrong, was not doing it right. And when Popper and Banks broke it down too, so they got to get that tightened up. Slayton, especially Hyatt. Slade got the contract. He's back. So those guys got to tighten that up, receiver-wise. The best route runner on the team by far was Malik Neighbors.
Unbelievable, right?
Malik Neighbors. Yep. So, who was getting it right in a lot of the breakdowns. So anyway, going to offensive line. Look, Jerry, here's one for me. We all know Evan Neal, but the one for me is John Michael Schmitz.
Oh, yeah, good one. Right? Real good one. Yeah.
Second-round pick, dude.
Yeah.
I don't think we could sit here in year 3, Jerry, and say, man, this kid is playing like a second-round pick.
Right.
No, to me, he's playing more like a 4th-round pick, and saying, okay, he's a 4th round. He's in there starting and all that. No, I mean, this is a second-round pick from 3 years ago, and we should be looking at him going, hey, this kid's going to get a second contract. He's our center for years to come.
Mm-hmm.
We can't say that right now.
No.
We can't say that right now. So, to me, considering, obviously Evan, he was a 1st-round pick. He's on thin ice. We'll see what happens to him at the guard position. But John Michael Schmitz too, Jerry, because he's a starting center.
Yeah.
He's a starting center,
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And he's got to step it up. Well, he won't be seeing a second contract with the New York Giants either.
And his best game was probably game 2 last year against the Commanders. I mean, he played really well against a really good interior offense or defensive line. But he's just been so up and down, Chris. That's a good call by you. I jumped right to Josh Azudu as my other lineman just because you have to show something this year or you're not even going to make the team. It's going to be off the roster. So, I think you're right. I think Neal and Schmitz, because he's such an integral part, he's a starting center, right? So Azudu's a reserve at this point at best, and probably not going to make the team if other guys show up. So yeah, John Michael Schmitz is a good one, dude.
And Jerry, I'm going to give you something from maybe not left field, but maybe a little bit of a dark horse. Andrew Thomas. Oh, what do you mean, Chris? Andrew Thomas is a solid tackle. Yeah, but Jerry, you know what? He's got to stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to put Andrew in there, only the health category.
Okay, fair enough.
And I understand it's injuries and all that, but Jerry, you know, what did Parcells say? Can't help us from the couch, the tub, whatever the hell you remember Parcells when he's you can't help us from the sideline, can't help us from the training room, right?
Carl Banks, the best ability is availability.
Right. I mean, and we all love when Andrew's healthy and playing, right? Because he's a pretty good tackle. But Jerry, you know, we've also seen over the years that Andrew just can't stay healthy either.
Yeah.
So could we have a year here? I know Andrew's signed, he's not going nowhere and all that, but could we have a year here where he comes out there and plays 17 games? That would be nice, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a good call. And you're right from a health standpoint. It's a huge year for him. And like you said, if he goes down again, the line cannot fall apart. That cannot happen. You can't just have one guy doing that and, well, that's it. The season's over. We can't run the ball. We can't protect the passer. So, good call. All right. Next position, Chris, where you want to go?
Let's go to tight end.
Okay.
You have anybody? I have one.
Yeah, one. Dan Bellinger.
Right. I figured we would have the same guy. So Bellinger now in year 4 himself.
Yeah.
And it's him and Theo Johnson. And I'm going to tell you this. I think I said this in the last podcast, but watch this Findone kid. I'm telling you, watch this Findone kid this summer. But Bellinger's a guy that, we expect after his rookie season, we expected more, right?
Yes. Yep.
Had to block a lot. Don't get me wrong. Had to block a lot with the offensive line issues and all that stuff. But I don't think it's a guy that's going to get a second contract here unless he has a really good year 4. But he's a nice guy, inline block. He can inline block and all that stuff. But now you got Theo who could run routes, run seams. You got this Findone kid. You got Manhurst is there as an inline blocker. So an interesting position. I think that's a guy, though, if you had to look at one guy, in my opinion, your opinion, that maybe has to step up a little bit or might be stepping out in the near future.
Yeah.
And that'd be Daniel Bellinger.
If Findone works out, then they're going to be very happy with that tight end room with Theo Johnson at 1, right? And Bellinger was a guy who his rookie year looked really good. He looked like he was going to be a very, not a star, but a very steady contributor. And then year 2, you see his arms, he puts on all this muscle and disappeared, right? And without block, he was just kept into block all the time, but then was inconsistent catching the ball. And then he just disappeared last year. So it's a shame. But now that, Chris, I don't know where it came from. People are asking, I'm just going to put it up there. Rich Sabner asked Kyle Pitts tossed around his trade bait recently. I mean, is that a guy that you'd be interested in, or you think the Giants would even entertain there?
Yeah, there was word around the league that the Giants were one of the teams I've reached out. I don't listen. No thanks on Pitts. I agree. I'm not going to call Pitts a bum, but I like Theo Johnson, Bellinger. I love this. I know it's early, Jerry.
No, hey, listen, we want to hear that, Chris. We want to hear the rookies that you're excited about, dude. That's awesome.
I mean, I am excited about Thomas Findone. I really am.
Good.
And so are the Giants, brother. So are the Giants.
You got something here in the 7th round, maybe, huh?
I mean, this is a kid that was highly recruited coming out of high school, one of the top recruits coming out of the country. He had 2 serious injuries at Nebraska.
Yeah.
If this kid could stay healthy, man, I think Joe Shane stole one in the 7th round. I really do.
Yeah.
I know it's early. Don't get me wrong, but, I like the looks of this guy. He had a good OTA today, from what I understand. I like the tight end room a little bit. It has a little bit of inline blocking. You got Theo. You got this Findone kid to see how this plays out, with the 53, who's active on game, who's not, and all that stuff. Dable really loves Manhurst. He loves his work ethic, locker room guy, good blocker, inline blocker, and all that stuff. But why do we need Pitts, Jerry? Right? I mean,
yeah, right. Yeah.
To me, it's like, that's okay. I think we're all right. So then you got to sign him. But he's going to play 1 year. He's looking for a contract, Pitts.
Right.
2. So.
Yep. Yeah, Rich says, I'd rather see Bellinger or Johnson win those jobs personally. They're still cost controlled. Yeah, good point. All right, guys, we are 20 minutes in already. We didn't even get the quarterback yet, and I have a quarterback as well who's on Step up or step out. Guys, you listen to the Giant Insider podcast. Hang on 1 second. Underdog is one of the best places to make picks during playoff basketball. While they score buckets, you could score cash on Underdog. Underdog is a leading place to make all of your sports picks, and you can play now in your state. Millions of fans already have won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Playing on Underdog is a layup, no pun intended. Just download the app, then pick higher or lower on player stats like points, assists, rebounds, and more. If you get your picks correct, you could win up to 1,000 times your money. So you can turn $1 into $1,000 just by knowing hoops. This week on Underdog, I'm looking at Pacers Thunder, because the Knicks are out, unfortunately, and selecting Tyrese Halliburton on higher for 20 points and Miles Turner on lower than 10 rebounds. Download the Underdog app and sign up with promo code TGI to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. That's promo code TGI. Must be 18 years of age or older, 19 years of age or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 years of age or older in Colorado for some games, 21 years of age or older in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concern when you play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Thank you. And we're back. Folks, listen to the Giant Insider podcast with Jerry Foley and Chris. Nobody beats the biz, Bizignano. All right. Not done with offense yet, buddy. I got a guy. Make or break. Step up or step out. I mean, it's obvious for me. Russell Wilson. This is it, right? Like, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. He's got to be looking at this like this is my last shot. If it doesn't work here, it's not going to work. I mean, he's not going to be probably not even get picked up by someone unless it's on a backup role. And would you even want that? So I'm looking at this as Russell Wilson has everything to play for. And as much as a lot of Giant fans want to see Jackson Dart, like we said, dude, if we're seeing Jackson Dart by week 8, as you said eloquently, the season is down the shit bowl. So, and I agree with you, right? So I think it's step up or step out for Russell Wilson, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, Russell's been on a few different teams now, and you know, Russell's looking at it like, okay, you know, it didn't work out in Pittsburgh and it didn't finish well. And Denver, we all know what happened in Denver. So, hey, I'm going to come over here. He loves Brian Dable in his system, and I got to get it going here. Or I might be out the door, right?
Yep.
That might be it for me as a starting quarterback in the NFL if he doesn't play well for the Giants. So, yeah,
Yep.
You look at the quarterback position. I agree with you, man.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson, you better step it up, buddy. You know, or you'll be stepping out maybe in your NFL career as a starter. So,
and one more on offense, and someone said it. Chuck Lustig said it. Eric Gray. For me, that's an easy one. He's probably 4th on the depth chart. I mean, he's really 3rd, but he's probably realistically 4th. It's now or never, right? So Eric Gray, that's another, 5th round.
I think he's 4th, bro.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Right.
I saw the last week of the OTA. It was Tyrone wasn't there, but it was Devin, Scatterbo, and then Gray. But now when Tyrone comes back, it's going to be Tyrone, Devin, Scatterbo, and then Gray. So Gray might have one foot out the door.
Yeah. So I have him as well. Step up or step out. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
I don't think I have anyone else on offense. I'm trying to look on my list. I think that's it.
On offense, that's all I have too. Yeah.
Yeah. All right,
folks. If you think there's somebody else, chime in. Put it in the comment section. If you think there's somebody we're missing.
I didn't even think of John Michael Smith before you got
Dante Miller's not expected. I see somebody put Dante Miller, but he's not expected to be. It's not just guys at the tail end of the depth chart. I'm talking about guys that have played and need to step it up. So
we said Wandale, Rich.
We said Wandale, Rich.
Come on, Rich. We spent like 10 minutes on Wandale. You probably joined.
Maybe Rich just jumped in.
Yeah, I know. I'm just joking with him. All right. Next position, Chris. Defensive side of the ball.
Let's go to the defensive line. What do you got?
Well, it's to me the most obvious one, especially with Burns being healthy, Abdul Carter coming on board, Dexter Lawrence in the prime of his career. Kayvon, baby, come on, step up.
You're gonna include Kayvon Burns. Yeah, okay. Kayvon Thibodeau. Yeah, we'll include all those guys. Okay. Yeah, I agree with you, dude. I agree with you 100%. I'm sorry, Jay. I was looking at the 5 defensive. I wasn't even thinking that, but you know what? That's a good move. We'll bring those guys in too. Yeah. Not without question. I don't think there's any question.
Yeah.
Kayvon's got to play He's got to step it up in year 4, dude. Come on, make an impact.
Right.
Be an impact guy.
And I pointed out the other guys because you now have talent around you. You have and I know that Kayvon's slated for that right side, but they're going to find Abdul Carter's going to get on the field. There's going to be times where they're both on the field. It's going to open up. It should open up things for him. He's got to do it this year, dude. He has to.
Yeah. And James O'Keefe puts, hey, what about Nacho? Nacho's a rotation guy,
That's how I looked at it too, dude. Yep.
We look at it like Nacho James is a rotation guy where we know what it is. It is what it is. Could he play a little bit better? Maybe, yeah, but he wasn't that bad last year. It is what it is with Nacho. It is what it is, So yeah, Thibodeau's the biggest one.
Yeah.
But bath and bedtime guys?
Yeah, Rich Sadner. I called him out before for not knowing Wanda. So he's putting his kids to bed and bathing them. Good dad, Rich. My bad, buddy. Nice job by you.
You're ripping poor Rich Sadner. The guy's taking care of his family here, I
know. He's like, what about Wanda? Okay. We talked about that, Rich. Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree with you, Jerry. Thibodeau, I think, is pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Enough with this and that. Let's take it up another level this year.
Yes.
His 4th-year option, his 5th-year option was picked up.
Yep.
But there'll be no extension with Thibodeau this year,
Yep.
And you got Abdul Carter and Brian Burns. So
healthy Burns, yeah. Right.
Now, put pressure on the general manager, Jerry. You know what I mean? What I mean by that is that put pressure on Joe Shane next whole season. Have that type of year where obviously he's your 5th overall pick, right? Where Joe Shane goes, we're signing this guy. We're gonna have that 3-man. We're gonna have Burns, him, and Carter for a while. Put pressure on him. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, make it a tough decision.
Some guys have to make it a tough decision for the general manager. Don't make it an easy one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Tibbs is going to be around here in year 5. But what he should be looking at is, okay, I got my 5th year picked up, but man, I want that big extension, right?
Yep.
So,
yeah. All right. So who did you have when I said Thibodeau? You said you weren't thinking along those lines. Who did you have?
I'm sorry, I didn't have anybody on a defensive line, Jerry.
Oh, okay. All right.
When you brought those guys, the edge guys as part of the line, then I.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, but we could cover the off-ball guys, the inside backers,
So I think I know where you're going.
They're not part of defensive line. And go ahead. You want to go?
No, go ahead. You go ahead. I know where you're going.
I think a guy that's coming off a little bit of a down year in his eyes, and he's also coming off an injury. Bobby Okereke, right?
Yep. Yeah.
We're looking at him and saying, Bobby's talked last week about learning the system, getting the system down more, understanding what Shane Bowen wants more. Obviously, he had the disc issue that he shared with us last week.
Mm-hmm.
He's 100% healthy, and I think he's looking for a kind of a bounce back year where he was 2 years ago. We had like 147 tackles for the Giants, and was all over the field. And not only tackles, Jerry, a lot of forced fumbles. Had like 3 or 4 forced fumbles that year.
Yeah,
very active in a lot of different ways, Bobby. And I think he's a guy that's looking to bounce back. So I hate to say, Jerry, get it going or you're out, but I think we look at him and say, okay, Bobby, get back to being Bobby.
Yeah, because if he doesn't, he's going to be one of those salary cap casualties, probably. I would imagine.
Yeah.
So that's a good call.
Could very well be.
Yeah, and Okereke was like a sideline to sideline guy 2 years ago. Like he was very noticeable all over the field. I love when he jumped over the Eagles and tackled Hurts on the tush push. Like he was just so active. But he took a step back last year. So he's got to step it up this year. Or he is going to be one of those guys that next year they look at it and say, all right, well, McFadden's still playing well. We've got Sal that's, looked pretty good last year. I don't know what he's going to do this year, but there are other options right now. If Okereke plays to the level he played 2 years ago, he's way better than McFadden and Sal. So we got to get him back to that level, right?
I'd say there's 2 guys I'm really interested in. Micah McFadden to me is a guy that got much better last season.
Yeah,
I like the way Micah played a lot last season. He's going to be the starting inside backer next to Bobby.
Yep.
And I'm going to give you one name. Watch this Muasau kid. I thought he played pretty solid football.
Yeah.
When he had to play last year, I thought he was pretty active.
Yep.
I liked him last year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I kind of like Jerry. One other guy who came back at the end of the season who lit it up in camp a couple years ago, Deontay Johnson. I'm really looking forward to watching him in camp.
Yeah.
With this team, he was a special teams guy too. And
he was active. Yeah.
So
He had like 12 tackles in that preseason game, didn't he?
Yeah, and I think if I remember right, Jerry, when he started against the Eagles last year, that last game, he was pretty active. He had a pretty good game,
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to watching him. Moose Sal's a guy I'm really looking forward to too, man. So.
Yeah, I remember last year you said, if you look at the first 2 drafts right now, Joe Shane's first 2 drafts, Micah McFadden might be the best draft pick at some point last year. And it wasn't all you weren't for. It was like, yeah, I think you're right. I think right now he could be the best draft pick. So,
yeah.
All right.
So, all right. So we got the offensive line. We got linebackers. Let's go to cornerbacks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously.
I think one's pretty obvious, right?
Deontay Banks. Yeah, absolutely. Come on.
Right. So Tate Banks is a guy, get it going, or you might be going.
Yeah.
So
yep.
That's a pretty obvious one.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's looked at right now. If Adebo is as good as people think or the organization hopes, and they've shored up the safety spot and Newman steps up year 2. And if Drew Phillips builds on last year, Deontay Banks is the biggest question mark in that secondary by a mile.
Oh, by a mile. Yeah. Yeah. So, and look, they brought in a guy that was a leader in Miami. He was a team captain a few times in Javon Holland.
Yep.
He's not going to be the captain here, probably. They got Bobby, they got Dex and all that stuff, but he's a leader.
Yep.
He wasn't a captain last year for Miami, but he has been a few times. So that shows the leadership qualities,
Yeah.
And I think a guy like Tyler Newman down the road, Jerry, has those same type of qualities.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Tuto, want to shout him out?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what's a podcast without Tuto chiming in? Salutes and respect to Big Jerry and Chris, the kings of New York Giants media and live podcast. Greetings from our entire club, currently training in Swansea, Wales.
Wow,
unbelievable.
That guy's all over the place.
Princeton to Italy to Wales. My God, dude.
Yeah, thank you, Tuto. You're the man, brother. Okay, I can't wait to meet that guy. I can't wait to meet that guy one day, right, Jerry?
Absolutely. A Big Dash jumps in. There's a chance Holland he says he's a chance Holland becomes captain. All right, Dash, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying that because they got Bobby and Dex as captains over there, But hey, look, the guy's been a captain before, so we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah.
With Javon, he's a pretty confident guy, and look, Javon's had some good years. Look, he's not coming off his best year in Miami, but that does happen in the NFL.
Yeah.
So now he's got a new team and all that, and we'll see what happens with Javon. I don't have anybody else's safety position as far as guys we need to feel it. Not a Newman and Holland are the starters.
Yeah. Dane Belton, though, with a pick. My boy Dane, baby. Huh?
Right.
Dane Belton finds the football, Chris.
Dane had another one today in the OTA, from what I understand. Giants reporters put it out there. The in-house reporters put it out there. So, look, it's amazing, right, Jerry? You look at Dane, he's always around that ball, man.
Yeah.
So, look.
Love him.
Dane's a guy where you don't look at him and say, okay, he's our guy, 60 snap guy. Obviously, he went out and got Holland, they drafted Newman. That says enough.
Yeah, right.
He's also a guy on special team. He's also a guy who plays specials, and you look at him and say, yeah, well, he's going to make the team. You know what I mean?
And the football finds him.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's even found him on special teams.
Right. Right.
So let's see what they do there.
Real quick, Chris, Dubs Dribbles chimes in. Why should we be confident in Bowen's D with these great additions? I'm not being a smart ass, just curious people's thoughts. That's all we know you're not a smart ass.
Because Dubs, as you know, Dubs, I've been on Shane Bowen a lot, but he's got an upgrading talent. They feel they got an upgrading talent. And let's see, I'm not going to destroy him in year 2. Sometimes it takes a couple of years with coordinators and the players. Okay. And let's see if he goes out and kind of adjusts what he wants, what he did from last year. So I'm not going to destroy him. I'm going to see, look, here's the bottom line, right? If I feel he's playing stupid ass defenses, I'm trying to be nice about this, Jerry. If he's playing,
that was the nicest you could come up with. That's awesome.
Stupid ass zones, and cover 6s and cover 4s.
Yeah.
And all that, some of the stuff we saw last season.
When you have man inside the 5-yard line, your favorite, right?
And when you have guys like Adebos and stuff like that. But I'm not going to destroy Shane. I have destroyed Shane But let's give him year 2.
Yeah.
All right. And let's see how he adjusts, because you have to adjust to your talent, right?
Yes.
And all that stuff. And I tell you what, Jay, just talking about the roster, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, that word culture is thrown around a lot, about, you got to, culture, culture is getting the right players in the building, dude. Culture is paying attention to detail. Culture is not taking any shortcuts. Okay.
Yeah.
Culture is studying extra harder, staying longer in the building. Guys that want to win, Jerry. Team guys that want to win.
Yeah.
Guys are all on the same page. That's what the culture is. And that breeds winning. And you start winning, and there's your culture. And I just want to say again, because I know I've said it. Alex Cora, Rich, by the way, it's not even close.
No, dude, I was just going to call. So real quick, guys. So for those of you listening, not on YouTube, who have you been harder on, Chris? Bowen or Alex Cora?
Yeah, Alex Cora is not even close.
Yes,
so
I agree with that.
And Joe Shane and Brian Dable, they feel they're getting their guys to get that culture they want, and that's what I mean by culture in a lot of ways. Culture can be thrown around in a lot of ways, but culture is getting guys on the same page, guys that are dedicated, guys that are team guys that don't take shortcuts, guys that work, guys that do this, extra film, all that stuff, commitment to your teammates, and the Giants feel they are bringing a lot of those guys in. Draft-wise, Jerry, free agent-wise.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. So obviously you have to win games, and that hopefully is the result of the culture you guys are building. They're building in that building. And I could say, Jerry, this is as far as, I've been pretty hard in the building, and at times as far as the culture sucks, and you got, some of these guys, look, I've reported over the years, Jerry, there's some guys that, remember after games, I said, yeah, Jerry, some guys really care. Some guys,
Yeah.
I've said it. Look, I'm never going to mention names, folks. I'm not going to do that. But I've told Jerry on podcasts, and I've mentioned to everybody who watches the podcast, there's been some guys I really wasn't happy with over the years after losses. Some of those guys are gone. Okay.
You have also pointed out Newman and Phillips wired the right way. You said that multiple times.
Brian Burns, I've pointed out a lot of guys that I feel are Malik that are wired the right way.
Yeah.
Because folks, after a loss, I go in the locker room and I specifically like to look around at everybody.
Yeah.
I specifically like to look around at everybody just to see. I'm not saying that after a loss you should be like wanting to jump off a building. I'm not saying that. But I'm also looking to see who's.
But it should hurt a little.
Taking it a little more serious than other
guys. Yeah.
And Joe has weeded out some of those guys the last few years. He feels that they're getting the guys in the building that they take their craft very seriously. And that builds the culture, Jerry. That builds the culture slowly but surely. And that hopefully develops into wins. And then when you start getting wins with those guys that you have built that culture with, boom, there you go. That's the team Shane and Dable want. So we'll see.
A couple comments I want to highlight. Brian Fitzgerald. We're going to find out one day that Tuto is really AI who lives that way. Jay Farris, the show is good when other big content creators are in the chat. Good stuff. And Big Dash, Chris. Big Dash. Well, he's talking about Big Dash. Big Dash has, I think, 60,000 YouTube followers. He does a podcast every day. This dude, maniac, good guy.
Big Dash.
Yeah. He's got. He has. I think he puts out a video.
We got to get this guy on.
Yeah, we'll get him on. Absolutely.
I'm sorry, Big Dash.
First time. I think it's first time I saw him in the chat. So.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm sorry, Big Dash. Welcome aboard.
Yeah.
I wasn't too familiar with him. I'm sorry about that, but now I am familiar with you.
Yeah.
I don't remember him ever chime in.
No, I don't think he's ever chimed in before. I've never seen him chime in before.
Okay. So but he says, Big Dash, good to know you, bro.
He says, I don't know if you guys talked about it already. I think, Chris did last week, but we'll cover it again because it's exciting. Where did Bo line up last week? I keep hearing he can play multiple positions.
Yeah. Like I reported last week, he was playing guard and tackle last week.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, but
look, Brian Dable is from the Bill Belichick school of versatility. They want guys playing everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Lining up tackle, guard, tackle. versatility is huge in this sport. It really is. So you see what they're doing already with him.
Yep. All right, guys, we're going to take one more break. Be right back after this. You'll listen to the Giant Insider podcast. Hang on 1 second. Rounding third base, 8-year-old Dalton's leg began to hurt. Despite over 3 years of treatment, including chemo and amputation and multiple clinical trials and surgeries, Dalton, or D, passed away at 12 years old from cancer. His parents and Giant fans, Jen and Will, formed Defeat Cancer to help discover targeted treatments and help kids like Dalton and the 16,000 American kids diagnosed with cancer each year. 100% of donations to Defeat Cancer directly fund pediatric cancer research. Please help them at www.defeatcancer.org. That's www.defeetcancer.org. Thank you. And we're back, folks. Listen to the Giant Insider podcast with Jerry Foley and Chris. Nobody beats the biz Ignano. Real quick, Chris, I just want to bring up, it's been 4 years since Dalton passed. I cannot believe that. His father, William, who we're in touch with, posted the other day. He was kind of the mascot of the Giant Insider podcast. He fought like hell, fought harder than any of us ever could with Ewing sarcoma. And it's been 4 years. I cannot believe it. I was shaken up by that X post. So, guys, we really appreciate everything you give to us. If you can, please give to Defeat Cancer. It's a legit organization run by Dalton's father. So, all right. Yeah, go ahead.
Just going back to one little thing, like Josh Azudu last week, he played a lot of guard in the OTA, and Papa just pointed out to me too. He thought he played well, but that's his position. He had a few reps at tackle, but you could see just watching him over the years and watching him last week. That's where Josh belongs. I think Josh is a serviceable guard.
Yeah.
When he's at guard, okay.
Yeah, right.
The experiment of him playing tackle is over.
Yes.
Look, they believe in versatility. The guys are gonna get reps at tackle guard. I know some people, they saw my tweet last week and they were panicked. They thought Azudu might be looking at swing tackle. No.
I panicked.
No, they signed swing tackles. They got Marcus Ball was a guy they're gonna be looking at tackle too. But they signed Hudson guy. They signed Forsythe. I don't know. One probably Hudson will stay. But listen, the Josh Azudu thing, unless they need him, Jerry, that's not something they're going to be saying, okay, let's let him compete again at tackle. I think they learned their lesson. He's a guard, Jerry. He's a much better guard, as we know. He's a serviceable guard when he plays guard, and that's going to be the position he's going to be at. So don't panic. You might see me say, all right, the Azudu's out there with the twos at left tackle and all that stuff. Don't panic.
Yeah.
It's unless I start putting it over on X, or I start talking about it on a podcast and I start saying it a lot. Oh, yeah, he was with the twos today at tackle, like the whole practice, something like that. That's when it's time to panic. Oh, my God, don't tell me you're actually thinking this again, but I don't expect that.
I was going to say versatility is good when you're actually versatile. He's just a guard. Maybe right guard, left guard. He's just a guard. But yeah, I panicked a little bit when I saw that. I'll be honest with you, Chris. Someone who is being brought up a lot in this chat, and I don't want to. So Big Dash says it scared him as well. I don't want to say hatred, but a lot of angst, I should say. Graham Gano. Here saying he should be on the step up or step out list.
Yeah, I mean, he covers special teams, but you know what? You're right. He's right. Who said that? Yeah. I'm sorry.
A lot of them. A lot of people are saying, Gano.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Jamie Gillen and Graham Gano, we didn't cover. Casey Kreider, I think, is pretty. We don't have to worry about him.
Casey Kreider needs to be cloned. Yeah,
we don't need him. We don't have to say he has to step up. He's been fine.
Yeah.
But you're right. Graham Gano has been injured. Hasn't been the same kicker. He needs to step up, but he's going to be done. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But look, I mean, there's a lot of question marks on the roster, but there's that feeling of excitement, right? You're seeing a lot of I don't know if the social media aspect of the Giants is stepping up, but they're doing something different, because I'm way more excited looking at X now with all these social media posts with the kids and, all these, all the questions they're asking them. And I don't know. I don't know if the Giants social media has stepped up their game, but I'm buying in. I'm all in on what the Giants have done this offseason. So I will have to bring this up. I'll bring this up now because I don't want to lose the comment. 9 Dog Golf asks, Little Jaws trivia, Chris. What is the exact dollar amount offered as a bounty for catching the shark?
For $10,000, you get the head, the tail, the whole damn thing.
Oh, I think you're right. Look at it. Yeah, I don't think you're going to get you with Jaws. I don't think there's anything about Jaws.
Is it three? I value my neck more than $3,000. $3,000.
I thought it was. I thought you were right with.
I'll
10.
catch him and kill him for 10. So the offer was $3,000. Quint came back countered with $10,000.
Look at you. Nice job.
I think I'm right in that. So anybody let me know if I'm right or wrong. In fact,
yeah,
I could have sworn Quint said, I'll fight him for 3, but I'll catch him and kill him for 10.
There it is. 3. Nice. Good call, Chris.
Right. Thank you. Nailed it. Thank you. So I'm going to have a trivia question when it's time. Folks, you got to answer in a few. You're going to have to answer in a few minutes. So, we don't get anybody out there cheating, trying to look it up. Okay.
Nine Dog said you're right.
Thank you, Nine Dog. It's really tough to get me with yours.
I don't think they can. I don't think they can. Yeah, I don't think people are going to. Robert Evans says this is the best roster in years. I agree. And it's the most exciting roster.
Shaping up that way.
Yes.
Definitely shaping up that way.
Definitely pumped about the draft picks. And I'm telling you right now, obviously Abdul Carter, Scatterbo, the guy I'm watching is Darius Alexander. I want to see what that kid brings to the table. I can't wait to see him. I'm really hoping that he's as good as I think he's going to be, or as exciting.
Well, Greg Van Roten was pretty excited about it. He was talking about his athleticism last week. He was talking about and Greg Van Roten, by the way, brought up a lot of good points. Talking about the playing the guard position, about how much different it is today than it was years ago when he started. When he basically said you just had a bunch of fat turds in the middle of the defensive line. He goes, those days are over. These guys are so athletic now. And he liked to put it, it's not static anymore. That's the way he put it, you got to think real quick. Guys pulling stunts. He goes, look at our guy. And he mentioned Darius Alexander. He goes, look how athletic this kid is. He's huge and he's athletic. So it was a good point by Van Roten. And he feels playing guard is more difficult than playing tackle, in the league today. Interesting. When he talked about that.
James Bussold asked Chris, what was the beer they drank on the Orca, Biz?
What was the beer they drank on the Orca?
When he crushed it. And then I guess that's when he crushed it.
Oh, I don't remember.
Was that Meisterbrow? Might have been Meisterbrow or something.
I don't remember. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I don't remember that.
I'm guessing. So I love these. I love the trivia aspect of this.
All right, so I got a trivia one in a few minutes. I tried to think of anything else that came up during the week. The Giants.
Someone asked earlier, and I wanted to ask the question. I know it's very early. Narragansett. That's the beer. All right. I thought that was a town in Rhode Island, Narragansett. I'm probably spelling it wrong. Narragansett. There you go. Someone brought up earlier. They asked what you saw. Who has a stronger arm, Jackson Dart or Daniel Jones? From your first practice.
I have to look at it. Yeah, I got to watch a little bit more. Looks like Jackson does, but,
Come on, SETI 079. What is the name of Roy Hobbs' bat? Thunder Savoy Special was the second one. Wonder Boy was the first one. Wonder Boy and Savoy Special was the second one. Named after the bat boy, Bobby Savoy. Come on.
Okay, so it's trivia question time since we're wrapping up.
Yes.
Here it is for tonight.
Yes.
All right, for tonight's podcast. In the movie, The Bronx Tale. Okay? I'm sure a lot of people saw The Bronx Tale.
Mm-hmm.
In the bar scene with the bikers, when they all catch a beating, how many bikers were in the bar?
Oh, my God. Who the hell knows that? Is it mentioned?
By the way.
Is it mentioned or no?
Yes.
It is. Oh, all right. Wow. I have
13.
No idea.
No, way too high. 1327. That's way, way too high.
I didn't know it was mentioned.
Yes.
I thought you sat there and counted them. All right.
No, it's mentioned. Cologio mentions it.
So 13, 17, 7, 17.
There it is. Rich Savner got it right. 8.
All right. Not a lot of guesses here, but Rich Savner nails it. Nice job, Rich.
Very good by Rich Savner. 8 is the answer.
Dude, when all these comments come in, I can't click. There it is, Rich Savner. All right. Nice job, buddy.
Nice job by Rich Savner. Yes, the answer is 8. Cologio mentions it. He goes, you got to still look at all eight of their faces.
Look at you. All right. I remember the line, but I'm going to give
another little inside tidbit.
Go ahead.
On that scene.
Mm-hmm.
the one guy, the one biker who has I think it was the American flag around his head, bandana, was actually an undercover cop in the NYPD.
No kidding.
Yeah, he used to get in roles in the movies sometimes.
Oh, look at you.
I forget his name. Yeah.
Is Bronx Tale in your top like 5 like
Wise guy movies?
Yeah, wise guy movies.
Yeah, it is.
How do I ask that question?
Yeah.
It is, right?
Yeah.
What would you say? Rank him for me. Rank him for all of us. What the hell? We're here.
I'm not giving what's his name? Chris Bizik now? No, his name was not Chris Bizik. So top 5 wise guy movies?
Yeah. What would you say in that genre?
It's not Godfather. I can tell you that right now. I know Godfather was original in 72, but Godfather was so far fetched.
I would think you'd say Goodfellas is one for you.
Goodfellas is up there because I actually knew some of the guys from Canarsie in that movie. The guys they portrayed, and a lot of it was so close to reality. A lot of it was Hollywood, but there's all close. So Goodfellas is up there. Casino was up there too, believe it or not.
Yeah, no, because that was more real, right? That was more close to reality.
Casino.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was close. That was pretty close to reality. And I just mentioned the Bronx Tale.
Yeah.
That was Donnie Brasco was far fetched, and
I know you don't like that one. That's why I highlighted it.
and even Donnie and even Agent Joe Pistone says there was a lot of Hollywood in that.
Yep.
You know, I mean, the scenes in Donnie Brasco. I mean, I thought Johnny Depp was pretty good in it.
Yeah.
But there's so many scenes in that movie that is so ridiculous, it's beyond belief. The one scene they're in a Japanese restaurant, they just beat the shit out of the guy because he told about shoes. I mean,
take your shoes off. Yeah,
it's so ridiculous, it's beyond belief. For shows, Sopranos had a lot of good moments. Sopranos, obviously, the first few seasons had a lot of very good moments in it. As far as realism of Sopranos, some parts realistic, a lot of parts of what you call Hollywood. Okay, The Godfather. Listen, it's a classic. We all know that, but and it came along. American Gangster. I actually saw that being filmed in Coney Island a lot. Not even close to reality. Most ridiculous movie we've ever seen. Okay, yeah, Denzel was good, but a lot of scenes in that American Gangster was ridiculous.
Dan, you're talking my language. I love Boardwalk Empire.
I was never a Boardwalk Empire guy. I don't know about
big fan. It's because Jersey. A lot of the stuff they mentioned was.
Yeah, I know it's Atlantic City, right?
Yeah. Went to school near there, so they would say the White Horse and.
What actor was in The Sopranos and The Godfather? Obviously, that's Uncle Junior, Dominic.
Yeah, you're not. I mean, this is
Dominic
like.
Chiesa, he's been around forever.
Here we go. Bob Papa says the Godfather saga was only released on VHS, combined one. I don't know what that is. 2 in chronological order. Scenes were edited out of that were in the saga. Was like it was like 7.5 hours. Yes. Yep. Yeah, Big Dash likes the Boardwalk Empire too. There we go. All right, we're gonna have Big Dash on. We'll figure that out. Someone said you have to have Big Dash on and Mark Thompson on at the same time. Okay, we'll give the people what they want in the off season. What do we care? Big Dash, stay ready, buddy.
There's another biz. What's that? There is another biz. Godfather. Okay, I don't know what he means by that.
These things are flying by, these comments. There is another biz. James O'Keefe, Godfather. There is another.
Papa loves Boardwalk Empire too.
There you go, Bob Papa.
Yeah, I was never into that. Was that really good, Jerry? That show?
It mixed fiction with some truth. It was liberal.
Who's the star of that show, Jerry?
It was Steve Buscemi. Really was the star.
Oh, do you know what Steve Buscemi once? What he once was?
He was a firefighter.
He was a New York City firefighter. Steve Buscemi.
Yeah. I love Boardwalk Empire. I was a big fan. I love that. My favorite character in the entire show, Papa, not sure if you agree, was the guy who played Arnold Rothstein. I thought he killed it. I thought I would watch every Arnold Rothstein clip of that show. I could watch it on YouTube over and over and over again. Love it. So Big Dash is in. So good. We'll figure that out. Good stuff, buddy. I love the trivia aspect of the Giant Insider podcast.
We wrap it up. People like the trivia stuff.
Yeah, why not? What the hell?
Bob Papa was a Allman Brothers fan, and Papa. He goes, Papa's chiming in. He loves the trivia too. And Papa's an Allman Brothers fan. I told him the story. I got to tell the story on another episode.
Yep.
when I actually did security for Greg Allman one night back in the early 90s.
Did you really?
After the Beacon Theater show. Yeah, he was. I was telling Bob the story a couple weeks ago because I saw something where he mentioned on the radio or something. Or maybe he told me personally something about the Allman brothers. And I was like, oh, you big Greg Allman guy? I said, yeah, I actually was with Greg one night, and this and that. So, yeah, I got to tell you, I'll tell you about that story with Greg Allman. One night, I was him, Dickie Betts, and it was a funny night. Greg was a great dude. I always liked Greg. He was really a gentleman that night, real party animal. And this was even after his heroin years, but he still liked to hit the liquor, Greg, and had a fun time in him in Manhattan one night after the Beacon Theater show. But for you Allman Brother fans, yeah, Greg Allman was a funny freaking dude.
Very good. This is the interesting stuff, buddy. I'm telling you. This is fun stuff.
No, it's have some fun after we top off Giants football. That's all.
Yeah, dude. I love it. I love the trivia stuff. Love all this. This is fun stuff. And I think people like it because the comments are coming fast and furious.
The Chaz Pippi.
Oh my God, dude. You're like an idiot savant with that movie, dude. That is ridiculous. I would have to think about it. Wow.
Yeah.
Nice. Jersey Boys, that movie. I like Jersey Boys. I like Jersey Boys. I can't believe
I don't know Jersey Boy. That was a
Frankie
musical,
Valli
right?
still has to sing. Yeah, my God.
Oh, okay. I'm not too familiar with that.
The guy from
Papa probably knows that one.
And the guy who played Lucky Luciano in Boardwalk Empire is in Jersey Boys. So there you go. All right, there's that. All right, Chris. You stretched an hour into this, dude. Nice job, man.
Well, you Donnie Brasco fans, though, Jerry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I do highly recommend reading Joe Pistone's book.
Okay.
I highly recommend. If anybody hasn't read the book, Donnie Brasco, about Joe Pistone going undercover for like 6 years, I highly recommend it because it was very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Joe Pistone. What Joe Pistone did was amazing. It really was. And he's very lucky to be alive. Very lucky.
Pistone's a few times is a saint, Rich Sabner says.
So, yeah, there was a few times I think Joe thought he wasn't going to come out of a room alive. Matter of fact, I know he thought that. So,
unbelievable.
It was pretty interesting. If people are into that, if you like Donnie Brasco, I highly recommend getting that book.
Dubs Dribble says Jersey Boys is my favorite Broadway show, and then he follows it up with, granted, I don't get out much. That's all right, Dubs. It's all good, buddy. Good stuff, man. All right, dude. We'll be back sometime next week. Other stuff outside of the Giant Insider podcast is having me travel a bit, so we'll figure it out. We'll come back sometime next week. But thanks for hanging out, everyone. Really appreciate it. Anything else, buddy?
No, we'll see you next week. Giants have a media access OTA Thursday. And then next week, another OTA on a Thursday, and then the third week of June, the 17th and 18th is mandatory mini camp, which is always great. So me and Jerry will come on definitely for sure. A podcast probably that Wednesday night to talk about the mandatory mini camp that Tuesday and Wednesday, which is always the best time of the off season. Where the whole team is there and they do a lot of different things, and you get a really good feel what the coaches are thinking. And that's obviously the last time they appear before training camp. So what actor appears both in The Bronx Tale and Shawshank?
Ooh, I'd have to think about that. Wow. What actor appears in Shawshank and A Bronx Tale? Oh, don't tell us yet, None. I actually want to think about that for a second. That's a really good one.
That's a good question. I'm drawing a blank on that one. Yeah.
What actor appears in both? Holy crap. Huh. Wow.
That's a great question.
You did get us. I mean, if you want to give the... I don't want to sit here for 10 more minutes and just stare at the...
Nine dog, you got me. Go ahead, give it to me. It's probably one really overlooked in here.
Yeah, that's a good one, man.
Yeah, so...
If you could just give us the answer, but I mean, I want to sit here for another... Chaz. No. Frank Medrano. I don't know who that is. I have to look him up. Bob says Morgan Freeman.
Yeah. Morgan Freeman was not in The Bronx Tale.
I gotta look up Frank Medrano. Sorry, man. I can't.
Which one is Frank Medrano?
I can't let this go. I have to look it up now. Hang on one second.
Yeah,
Frank Medrano. I gotta.
Which one was Frank Madrano?
I don't even recognize the guy.
Okay.
All
Good
right.
answer though. I don't know.
I'll take your word for it.
Take your word for it.
Oh, it's the guy they beat the shit out of. The guy who came in and died that first night. I don't know what he was in a Bronx Tale though. When he goes, I'm not supposed to be here. The guy who gets beat up.
Oh, that guy was in the Bronx Tale?
That's what he says. That's the guy's face. I don't know what he was in a Bronx Tale.
I don't remember him in the Bronx Tale, but okay.
All
Take his word for it. You better be right there, Nine Dog.
All
right, brother.
All right, guys. Good stuff. Sundays are Giant days. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.